All right, then. So now we are going to move on to the AFC Championship game. This should be an interesting matchup. We've got the Buffalo Bills heading down to Arrowhead Stadium to take on the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Good news for Chiefs fans. Mahomes is most likely going to play. He's gone through the protocol. Everything seems well. I believe he's cleared it or is on the verge of clearing it, and he's expected to play on when did they play? I believe Sunday. He's expected to play on Sunday for the AFC Championship game. So great news for Chiefs fans. Bills fans, is that great news for you guys? I'd say so, because let's be real. Would this Bills team really want to be the Chiefs team without Patrick Mahomes? We've all talked about, if you want to get to the Super Bowl right now, it seems like you're going to have to go through that man. So besides, you guys want to prove yourselves. You've lost to this team under this quarterback. You want to get revenge and beat them here and get to the Super Bowl. So you would rather have him play as opposed to him not playing, and all of a sudden people say, well, you beat the Chiefs, but Mahomes wasn't there, so does it really matter that you got to the Super Bowl? I don't want people to make those type of excuses. If the Bills win this game this weekend, they deserve their credit to get into the Super Bowl. Give them their due. But yeah, we got a great matchup. Bills and Chiefs. Now, we saw this matchup earlier in like week 6 of the regular season, and the Bills managed to, keep it close for the most part. They competed. They definitely competed, but they just weren't able to get the job done. And at the end of the day, the Chiefs did their damage and managed to pull out the victory. However, this Bills team is not the same Bills team they faced off against in week 6. This Bills team has become much, much more improved. However, I will say this, concerns for the Bills. Hopefully, you guys actually do better. We're going to have to chalk it up to the weather as to why the Bills played so poorly. Honestly, you could chalk it up you could really chalk up the weather conditioning, specifically because the wind was so bad. You can just chalk it up to why both teams played bad in the divisional round. You had that matchup between my team, Baltimore, and Buffalo, and it seemed like the wind was just such an issue. It was just not good, okay? I mean, the wind was so bad. You saw Tucker miss 2 field goals. The wind was so bad that Josh Allen, who's been one of the best deep ball throwers in the league, if not the best this season, was just overthrowing his receiver by like 10 yards. That don't make sense because he's been so accurate at throwing those passes. The Ravens offense was atrocious in that game, but the Bills offense was not much better. They put up 10 points. Baltimore put up 3. The difference maker was the pick 6. So if I'm looking at Buffalo and you're looking at last week's performance, that's definitely a game you managed to edge out. Congratulations to you guys, but you understand you cannot play like that against Kansas City and expect to be able to win the game. And I don't believe they're going to play like that. I don't know the weather conditions in Kansas City, but I think it's going to be better than what Buffalo had to face at home when they had Baltimore come in last week. So I expect better play from the Buffalo Bills in this game against the Chiefs, because they understand if they play like they did last week, they're not going to be able to beat this team. They're going to get blown out because this Chiefs team knows how to put up points in bunches. So they definitely need to step their game up. I need to see the Buffalo Bills squad I saw towards the end of the season that was just dominating and just straight up putting fear in teams' heart. Now, you're not going to put any fear in the Kansas City Chiefs' hearts because they're the defending champions and they're not scared of anybody. So don't expect to bring fear to them. However, I need you to have that level of play again. I expect you guys to find a way to drop 30 on this Chiefs defense. Not going to be easy, but I think you got to drop 30. Then again, I don't know. It's always weird when you look at the Chiefs games. It's like no matter what happens, they always seem to have control as to how things are going to go. If it's like going to be a shootout, they're absolutely ready for a shootout. But if it's going to be a close, contested, low-scoring game, they're still finding ways to edge these games out. I don't know why. It's just like the game always seems to play in the pace of the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're never really worried as to what the result could be because they just believe they're going to make a play here or there that's just going to dictate and change how the game's going to go. So Buffalo, you definitely got to be careful with that. Now, what do y'all need to do? Let's see who has the edge. Offensively, this is very close, but the edge has to go to Kansas City. They've got the better quarterback because I believe Patrick Mahomes is just better than Josh Allen. However, Josh Allen is emerging and is really going to be that challenger. There's a lot of great teams and a lot of great quarterbacks in the AFC that are emerging, so we don't know who's going to be the specific one to challenge him. But right now, the first young quarterback to come after him is Josh Allen. And a lot of people hope that could be a rivalry that comes there. We don't know what could happen. Maybe a rivalry happens with Herbert in his own division. Who knows? Maybe other quarterbacks step up. We'll see what happens. But right now, Josh Allen's at that mantle, and he's the first one to take a swing at trying to beat Mahomes to get to the Super Bowl. However, when it comes to the offenses, I'm just going to give the edge to Kansas City because, again, they got the better quarterback and they've got the better weapons, okay? You got Travis Kelce, you've got Tyreek Hill, you got Sammy Watkins, you got McCall Harmon. You just got so many different weapons on this offense. Then you look at the run game, you got Le'Veon Bell there. You've just got a lot of weapons to utilize in this Kansas City Chiefs offense. And, Andy Reid has a joy coming up with all these schemes and all these plays that they just manage to fool people. The offense of Kansas City is just so creative. It's just something you don't see. And it's not something we haven't really seen before, but we don't see it be executed so efficiently the way the Chiefs just managed to pull it off. With the Bills offense, it's definitely a high-score passing offense because we know Josh Allen can go out there and throw for 400 passing yards and put up 3 touchdowns. It's definitely possible. He has the weapons, okay? He still has Stephon Diggs, who's one of the best receivers in the league and has had a career year. He still has Cole Beasley in the slot, who can be a dangerous threat. He still has John Brown, they're still trying to get him going and get something going there, but he has guys there, and he has Singletary in the backfield that if he can get some space, he can get some solid runs. However, when I look at both these offenses, I just feel like I got to give the edge to Kansas City. They're way too powerful as a unit. Sometimes it just feels like that offense is a cheat code. The Bills offense is high-flying and they're putting up great numbers, but that Kansas City offense is such a cheat code, I don't know if I could pick against them. Defensively, I'm giving it to the Bills. I just believe they have a better secondary and they're more equipped to take on the Chiefs offense as opposed to the Chiefs defense being more prepared to take on the Bills offense. Now, I'll say this about the Chiefs defense. The Chiefs defense isn't as bad as everyone's trying to say. They're actually a really solid defense. They play really great defense. And one thing I always say is they're not anything spectacular in terms of them being top 5, but they're close to being a top 10 defense. They're a really solid unit, and they don't do too much. And the reason why they don't do too much is because they understand that if they can just make a few stops in the game, that's going to determine the factor. If they make a few stops and give those extra possessions to Mahomes, they know Mahomes and that offense can take them down. It's definitely led by the Honey Badger and those crew up there in Kansas City. That defense, they know what they're doing. They're nothing spectacular, meaning they're not a top 5 defense, but they're very close to top 10. I feel like that defense is much better than we've all given them credit for. And even some occasions, I've even given them credit for. I've definitely talked about my concerns for this in terms of this defense. I've had my concerns for this defense, but at the same time, they step up when it comes to playoff time and they play like a top unit. So I just look at this Kansas City Chiefs defense and I like what I'm seeing. At the same time, I still believe the Bills defense is better just because that secondary in total is better. In terms of run defense, I definitely do believe the weakness is still there for the Bills. However, I'll say this, they definitely did make an impression last week taking on the Ravens. They didn't completely shut down the run game, but they shut it down to the point where they really forced Baltimore to have to try and switch up and get the pass game going. Unfortunately, my team wasn't able to get that going, and that's why we embarrassed ourselves on national TV, putting up 3 points in a playoff game. But you got to give credit to the Bills' defense in terms of how they defended Lamar Jackson because they did not let him go off. They did not let him run or run wild to just do what he wanted to do. They made sure to contain him as much as possible. However, the way they play defense in terms of containing the run game, they're not going to be able to play like that. They have to their secondary is going to have to be the key factor in stopping Mahomes because he's got so many weapons. They've got to make it tough on him specifically. They've definitely got to make it tough on him. So they're going to have to trust that front 7 to make sure their run game doesn't go off, which is something that actually happened in the matchup in Week 6. When you look back at that matchup, you'll see that a big reason as to why the Bills lost to the Chiefs wasn't because of the passing game, but because they actually let the Chiefs run all over them. Like, the Chiefs' running game got going in that game, and that was the biggest reason as to why they managed to edge out the win. So if that front 7 of the Bills can find a way to make sure they do not let this run game going, they're going to put Mahomes in a situation where he's going to have to beat them. He's just going to have to, him and his receivers are going to have to outplay the secondary of the Bills, which the Bills would definitely love to see. Of course, Mahomes definitely has the ability to do so, but I like that matchup for them. I think that's a matchup they definitely want. They would rather have their secondary have to guard up against the receivers of the Chiefs, as opposed to have the Chiefs run the ball down their throat. Because the way they'll play that is completely different. They're not going to zone in the way they do with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. They're going to have to back up people in coverage because you never know what play they're going to throw at you. So they're going to have to trust in their front seven to make a stop, and their entire secondary is going to have to be zoned in towards stopping those receivers, specifically Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. They have to stop those guys. As for the Chiefs defense, they're really going to have to focus on Stephon Diggs. That's really it. Zone in on Stephon Diggs, and you should be fine. Go back and look at what Baltimore was able to accomplish in terms of making it difficult for Josh Allen. They didn't blitz him. They actually backed everybody up in coverage, and they trusted their front. They trusted their defensive line to at least put the pressure on Josh Allen. And you know what? It actually did work. They backed up everybody in coverage, and they limited that Bills offense to only 10 points. So if Kansas City could take away some of the things Baltimore did defensively and add that to their repertoire, they should be able to make it very difficult for Josh Allen. Now, offensively, for both the Chiefs and the Bills, they got to get it going early on. Get established something, especially for the Chiefs, because Mahomes coming off the concussion. I don't know how he's going to look. If they can establish something early on, they can really take control of this game. If you're the Bills, you definitely want to establish something early on, because you don't know if the Chiefs are going to come out cold because Mahomes, had the whole concussion, or if they're going to come out red hot. So you have to be prepared. Josh Allen is going to have to find a way to outplay Patrick Mahomes in order to win this game and get to the Super Bowl. It should be an interesting matchup, but overall, I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs to win this game. I just trust in the Chiefs more. They've been here before. They're more better equipped for this situation. Patrick Mahomes is more better equipped for this situation, and I just trust in the Chiefs pulling this off, knowing the fact that they can get back to another Super Bowl. They're trying to create a dynasty, and they're on the verge of doing it right now. If they can win another championship, they can continue to build on this. And I just feel like right now, this is the moment for Kansas City to break out and continue to do what they're doing. I love the Bills. I love what they're doing. They're having a great year, and I hope they continue to build on it. But I just don't see them taking down the Chiefs. I don't see anybody taking down the Chiefs right now. Maybe even in the Super Bowl. I don't know. I have the Packers going there, and I'm not 100% sure the Packers can beat the Chiefs. I just look at Kansas City right now, and they just find ways to win no matter what the situation is. Even if Mahomes gets knocked out of the lineup, they just find a way to win the game. Andy Reid just knows what he's doing. This team is playing exactly the way Andy Reid wants it to. And with Patrick Mahomes back at it and doing his thing, I just don't see how the Bills are going to win. They're going to compete. They're going to make it, competitive. They're going to make it close. But no matter what the score is, I don't care what score prediction I throw out there. Just know that Patrick Mahomes is going to come up clutch. He's going to make the plays in order to keep them, he's going to make the plays in order to make sure they have the lead and they manage to win this game. And even if he has to come up clutch and come back from like a 10-point plus deficit, he's going to pull off because he's Patrick Mahomes, and Andy Reid is one of the best offensive minds in the league, and this offense is just like a cheat code. So I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs in this one. I think they're going to get the job done. I don't really have a score prediction for this because it doesn't matter. The Chiefs are going to find a way to win this in a close contest, no matter what I say. I could say 33-30. I can give you 35-31. It don't matter what I throw at you. Just know the Chiefs are going to win this game. I wish the Bills the best of luck, though, because it would definitely be nice to see Buffalo get back to a Super Bowl, but I just don't see how they get past the Chiefs. I don't see how anybody takes this Chiefs team down right now. We'll see. Who knows how Mahomes is going to look when we see him this weekend, but it is what it is. With that being said, that is all I got. Those are my predictions for the conference championship games, and I cannot wait to see how these games go down. With that being said, that's all I got, and I'm out of here, man. Peace.